2 of John Jeckovich's book, Their Mother's Son, and it's 6/19/24, and we're still reading on the first chapter, and we're on page 2 in Home, Not a Home. Okay.
No home, yeah, you're right.
Home, not no home. Oh, over here it says house, no home. You see that?
Yeah.
And over here it says home, no home.
Say what?
This says house, no home.
Yeah.
Over here it says home, no home.
What, no home? House, no home. What's the other one?
Home, no home.
What?
Home, no home. Home, no home.
I can't get the word.
The chapter is titled House, No Home.
Yeah.
But on all your pages it says home, no home.
What's no home?
See, all the pages it says home, no home. It should be house, no home.
Flip it over. This part right here it might be an error. Let me look. It's supposed to be house, no home. That's chapter 1. And then that says home, no home.
Yeah, well, that was all the friction in the house.
Okay.
That was all the friction in the house.
Too much friction. Okay. Am I recording?
Yeah, you're recording.
It was not until I got into junior high school that I encountered and be aware of different aspects of my personality. To begin with, I was assigned to 8th B class, which completely undermined me. I knew I was not an honor student, but I always thought I could get an A student. It led me to compare the other students in my class with students in the A class. I could see many differences in A students, dressed more neatly, their mannerisms are more mature and poised. But most of all, they had an aura about them that made them stand out. One knew that they were exceptional, at least I thought so. Steve decided to go to high school and take college preparatory classes.
Yeah.
I followed him a year later and decided to go to vocational school. What vocational school did you go to?
Liberal arts.
What vocational school did you go to?
I went to Trot.
Was that a good school?
It wasn't, you didn't get 14, 16 points for graduation to go to college, no.
Well, what did you specialize in, Trot?
What electrical.
And,
I mean, what did I get? I didn't get nothing out of it.
well, you
I
do.
got on my own self-taught knowledge.
Okay.
Tressel was so damn good. He lived over in the Chota.
I had not talked.
Graduated from Dagger University.
I had not talked to my parents about the decision, as they were not concerned. Several years later, Sally decided to go to high school also. It was between these two events that Lookie just dropped out of school. What level of education did Lookie have? You said he dropped out.
He probably dropped out in 9th grade, 10th grade.
And your parents didn't try to stop him?
Huh. He didn't stop him, he was running away all the time.
So he never went back and got his degree.
No.
But he did do quite well. He's a newspaper reporter,
Well,
right?
there was a lot of politics involved in that.
But still, he was able to write.
Yeah.
For only having a 9th grade education, that was pretty good. As I entered vocational school, the old feeling about the differences in students overpowered me. My self-esteem went way down and I encountered them on a daily basis. Not that I thought I was better than they were, it's just that they were a great deal more immature and had other values from mine. I chose an electrical course. Well, you're a pretty damn good electrician now.
Huh?
You're a pretty good electrician still now. At 98 years old, you can wire up anything.
Yeah.
You can wire up anything.
Well, I wasn't going to take a auto mechanics or painting or the millwright.
Well, you can still wire up right now. You sure can. I had chosen an electrical course, not because of my great desire or interest in anything electrical, but mainly because I thought there'd be a greater disparity in the students taking the course than anything with, say, automotive or carpentry or welding. This proved to be correct. I remember Donald Sedlak. Who's Donald Sedlak?
Yeah, he's a smart kid. He was a smart kid.
Who I went to becoming electrical engineer and a decent student, sincere and dedicated to his studies.
Yeah.
So,
So he stayed with it. He became an electrical engineer. Yeah.
do you know if he went into World War II?
I don't know. I lost contact with him.
Thomas Holder.
Who?
Who's Thomas Holder?
Holder?
Yeah. Sedek's best friend.
My best friend?
It said Thomas Holder, Sedek's best friend.
Sam, my best friend. Yeah. They were together. They were together. They had a lot in common.
And was dedicated as his friend was, an excellent student, and graduated a top honor in his class. Edwin Robbins was an exceptional student and was privileged to the extent that I thought he was favored by some of the...
Yeah, his father was a teacher there or something, and he thought he thought he owned the school.
So Edwin Robbins, while an exceptional student, was privileged to the extent that I thought was favored by some of the teachers due to them knowing their parents. He made the most improved student in his final year. I can't believe how you can remember all this.
He made what?
Most improved student.
What kind of student?
He made most improved student in his final year.
Robbins.
Yeah.
Well, listen, Robbins had a connection with the teachers there. His father worked there. Yeah, Robbins was a big bully.
Yeah, it was.
He always thought he was a big celebrity.
Did he ever go to the war?
Huh?
Did he ever enter the war?
I don't know. I lost contact with him.
So that was some type of an award that this Edward Robbins got as the most improved student at the last year.
The most what?
Improved student.
Most improved student, yeah.
Yeah.
He was a big joker, too. He thought he was a big celebrity.
Was he a joker in class too?
Oh, yeah. Well, his father was a teacher there.
Yeah. Bernard Wallenbar,
Was the guy on the farm.
a quiet, intelligent student from a small farm community, went to prosper in his own electrical contracting business.
Yeah, he was good. He got his own business started and everything, yeah.
Stanley Gibbous, the least likable, I thought became an electrician in a local plant. Do you remember Stanley Gibbous?
Yes?
Stanley Gibbous with a G.
Gibbous.
G-I-B-A-S, Stanley Gibbous.
Gibbous. Yeah, he lived on Buchanan Avenue, yeah.
I don't understand how you can remember all this. There was David Lass.
David Lass, yeah.
What?
His father was a teacher there too. He thought he was selected too.
David Lass, a problem student who struggled through the 2-year course and joined the Air Force upon graduation. He was later shot down over France and listed as missing in action. Lastly, Robert Stevenson.
Robert Stevenson.
An executive type, was the class president and later the student council president. He went to become a CEO of General Electric plant.
CEO?
That's what you said right here. Do you remember Robert Stevenson?
Yeah.
Was he a pretty good guy?
Oh, yeah. He wasn't in that clique.
There were others in the graduating class of 1941, a total of 13. I do not recall them, may have seemed as passive and inconsequential as I must appeared to Mr. Treslet.
Sandback, yeah.
What's it say?
Yeah, he was a smart kid, yeah.
Our instructor to these 2 years. Mr. Treselt, our instructor for the last 2 years.
Yeah. Tressel, what, graduated from Niagara University.
I'll be damned. In passing, I must say, I did have a strong binding friendship with any of these students.
Or the teachers.
I did not bring any of them home to meet my parents, nor did I socialize with them outside the social environment. My total contact with them was in a school setting. This was not to say I would not have enjoyed or desired their friendship more, but it was not possible, I thought. The most intimate contact I had was with Mr. Finger.
Oh.
Mr. Finger.
Say again.
Finger. Mr. Finger. Mr. Finger was our science teacher.
Oh, yeah. He caught me cheating.
I can't believe.
He caught me cheating. He said, "John, you gotta do that whole, that was pieces there." He said, "You gotta do that whole section by yourself." I got an A on it.
I
He
can't.
said, "I knew you had to boil it all, but you just screwed off, that's all."
I can't.
I had problems at home.
Yeah, you had a lot of problems at home.
Yeah, but we were sleeping in the garage and all that shit, sleeping in the car.
Yeah,
My father was fucking with my mother, but he never hit my mother though. I would never let him do that.
No. But Mr. Finger, I can't believe that you'd be cheating on a test. I couldn't see you doing that.
What?
I couldn't see you cheating on a test.
Finger?
I couldn't see you cheating on a test, as you stated here.
Say again.
I couldn't see you, as you state on page 3, that Mr. Finger, a science teacher, caught you cheating on a test.
Yeah.
Hard to believe. He reprimanded me and gave me extra work to take a more difficult test, the one I had cheated on. I got a 96 on that test. That was pretty good. You got a harder test.
Finger was all right. He's fair. He was fair, yeah.
It was not until almost 10 years later that I met Mr. Finger again.
He worked as a millwright at Kimberly Clark.
How do you go from a teacher to millwright?
Yeah. Tell me that. Tell me.
Why do you think he did that?
That's the quality of teachers we had. He wasn't a teacher. He was a millwright at Kimberly Clark.
I met Mr. Finger again in a working environment 10 years later, in which he called me by my first name and shook my hand. One second.
Finger, I remember Finger, yeah. Caught me cheating on that test.
Mr. Finger. I met Mr. Finger again in a working environment. During my school years, we moved several times. Oh, Mr. Finger told me I was one of his better students and asked what I was doing working here. So you met Mr. Finger at Kimberly Clark.
Yeah.
He was a millwright, and he said you were a better student, one of the better students,
Yeah.
but why are you here?
Yeah, why am I here? Yeah.
But why was he here?
Yeah. No, he didn't last long there. He probably got a kippy, shitty teaching job in some country.
My first recollection of living anywhere was a house on Livingston Avenue. And although I do not remember much that went on there, other than my sister going through the hall window, my mother said it was due to my irresponsible and careless nature. How could that be? What part of Livingston were you on?
What?
What part of Livingston Avenue did you live on?
Come right end of it.
Like way down to 27th Street or something?
Yeah.
But why did your mother blame you for your sister going through a window?
Because she was in the buggy, I was taking her down the stairs, and the stairs had rubber threads on them. The one thread was loose, and when I stepped on it, the thread moved on me, and I lost balance.
How old were you then?
I was probably 14, 15 years old.
How old was your sister?
Oh, about 10, 11.
Did she get hurt?
No.
So there's no problem.
She went through the damn window.
Did she go outside?
No, she didn't. She went to the window, but the bottom of her buggy, buggy of her thing caught on the sill.
Oh, wow.
So she got hooked up.
Were you on the first or second floor?
That was the second floor, too.
So that would have been trouble if she,
Yeah.
so your mother blamed you?
Oh, yeah.
Why not? Blame them. According to my recollection of the event, I was taking my sister down a flight of stairs. Any mail?
No, I haven't checked it.
You didn't check it yet?
No,
Well, you want to?
I will in a minute.
According to our recollection of the event, I was taking my sister down a flight of stairs while she was in a buggy or stroller. Somehow I lost control of the stroller, and my sister bumped down several stairs until the buggy struck a low-hung window and shattered a lower pane of glass. My sister was not hurt. My only other memory of Livingston Avenue was that we had a credit book at the local grocery store where we purchased food.
Zelzak, yeah.
Do you remember what street that grocery store was on?
Livingston Avenue.
There was a grocery store on
It was a
Livingston,
nice grocery store.
right
Real good to go grocery.
right in the residential area.
Yeah. No, it was a residential area.
Yeah, it's amazing how all those streets in Niagara Falls all had, in residential areas, they all had bars and they all had convenience stores or delicatessens.
Yeah.
They wouldn't allow that today, I don't think.
No. It was a little father.
Yeah.
Family stores.
So what'd you have, like a credit book there? You'd go in there and buy something and just put your name on it?
In the book, yeah.
At the local grocery store where we purchased food. Every time we bought something there, the grocer would write down the amount in a little notebook. Then my parents would pay for it at the end of the week. Our next resident was on Monroe Avenue. What part of Monroe Avenue were you on?
Monroe? Monroe again was the lower end of the city.
But what part? Were you on the 27th, the 30th block, or?
30th block.
So that's not bad.
Well,
That's right near Gill
that's where
Creek.
Crossville had a shop.
Yeah. This was also a second-story apartment. This was also a second-story apartment. This was also a second-story apartment, not much better than Livingston Avenue. Some of the events I recall there were vague, while others were quite clear. The more obscure events were spending a winter here. I remember the snow on the hedges in the front of the house and being pushed into them while fighting with a couple of boys from school. Oh boy. I remember rubber gunfights we had there, and I do not recall who was there, but I am sure my brothers were not there. Rubber guns were just short 2x4s with a nail driven into the bottom and a short squeeze stick at the other end. Several inner tubes bands held the inner band between them. This was you remember how you made a rubber band gun? A rubber band gun? A
rubber band gun. Yeah.
You're just describing it.
We made those guns, yeah. We're a piece of an inner tube gun.
Yeah. You said the inner tube was your ammunition. My most vivid revelation was my brother Steve's birthday party. This was upstairs.
Yeah, that was an exclusive party.
Included in the party were a 5-piece band, ice cream, cake, and soft drinks, and you could eat and drink. Most of Steve's classmates and several relatives made up the party. I can recall the neighbors standing around in front of the house listening to the music.
Yeah.
So they had a nice band there.
Oh, yeah.
Was it a Polish band?
No, it was a 3-piece It wasn't a band, it was an orchestra more.
On a similar vein, I remember my own birthday party in the same house. It consisted of a spaghetti dinner, a black clicking toy pistol.
Yeah, that clicker pistol. I remember that damn pistol, yeah.
Did it have caps too?
Huh?
Was it a cap gun or no?
No, it wasn't.
And walking outside that night and clicking my toy pistol as I walked around the neighborhood. Our next move was to a dingy red brick apartment on 13th Street. It was a ground floor in the rear next to an equally dingy tavern. When we walked out of the apartment, we could smell the musty odor of beer coming out of the sidewalk grate
Yeah.
from the cellar, a few feet from our kitchen window. I recall my mother washing clothes in the kitchen in an old washing machine that had revolving metal cups going up and down, washing the clothes. My fondest memory of the place was Lang's Bakery, few doors down from where we live.
Yeah, the bakery wagons were pulled by horses.
Oh, that's amazing. Wow. To get up early in the morning and walk out and down the street to see horse-drawn wagons with their loads, to see horse-drawn wagons, what? Horse-drawn.
They were making the rounds.
Seen horse-drawn wagons with their loads of freshly baked bread and pastry going out on their deliveries was a delightful sight. Not only was it something to see, but the aroma of the freshly baked bread coming out of the bakery was a stark contrast to the rest of the surroundings. Did those horse-drawn wagons, did they stop at businesses or did they stop at residents also?
They stopped at they had residential stores too.
To this day, anytime I get a scent of freshly baked bread, I think of Lang's Bakery on 13th Street.
Yeah, that's where the kid lost his arm.
Oh, wow. We then moved to Niagara Street, which was farther away from the center of the city. I can remember how excited Mother was to see a kitchen sink larger than the basin she had been using.
Then we had a bathtub.
And a bath, wow.
Yeah.
And one that had drawers and shelves with doors on them. This is the first place we had a full bathroom, a sink and bathtub, and toilet all in one, and a door enclosing it all. We were on the upper flat of a two-story single-standing house with a small porch out of the front. Did you sit on the porch a lot?
Yeah, faced Niagara Street, yeah. Boy, what a pissy-ass life, boy, wow. See, that's why I wasn't doing good in school.
Which had a small porch out in front where we could sit and watch the cars go by on the street. We did not have an automobile, but did not get one until Steve was old enough to drive.
That Packer sat in the garage.
Yeah. My father...
Well, that's where Sally and her girlfriend were playing in the car in front of the house.
Oh, yeah.
And another guy hit the car, and Sally was hurt.
Wow.
They couldn't get her out of the back seat.
My father walked to work and where my mother worked. She took the bus which stopped across the street. We walked to the local elementary school several blocks away. Since we came home for lunch, I can recall listening to the radio and the
The movie must be over, huh?
yeah.
Wow, they're plotted out, huh?
Yeah, really.
Boy.
Holy cow. It's only 8 o'clock. They usually wait to 8:30. Wow. They piled out. We walked to the local elementary school several blocks away. And since we came home for lunch, I can recall listening to the radio. Okay. Various,
They go to school and come home for lunch.
that's amazing. I would listen,
We listen to, I can't think of her name, but she, a country farm girl married a rich person, an aristocratic person, and I can't think of it, it was a cereal.
no kidding.
Yeah.
So cereals were a lot of commercials.
Yeah.
Wow. Do you remember when you were a kid, there was a band called Earl Scruggs and Lester Flat?
Who?
Earl Scruggs and Lester Flat? Earl Scruggs and Lester Flat? Do you remember those banjo players?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Earl Scruggs,
Country singers.
yeah, and Lester Flat.
Yeah,
Okay.
country singers.
Yeah, so you heard of them back then.
Yeah.
We walked to a local elementary school several blocks away, and we came home for lunch. When you came home for lunch, was there lunch ready or you had to make it?
The lunch was probably a lunch bag in the refrigerator. My
Did
mother make it before
you,
she
should
went to
make them for you, okay.
work.
I can recall listening to the radio and the various cereals on the air at the time.
Yeah, they had cereals out at noon, and we'd wait till the last damn minute. Helen Trent, I remember Helen Trent.
Oh, wow. We would then hurry back to school at the last minute, exactly like you said, so as not to be late. It was here that my sister was involved in an automobile accident in front of the house. My sister and the girl downstairs were playing
In a car.
in my brother's car parked out front of the house. A car came veering across the road and hit the car, and the girls were in. My sister suffered some bruises and cuts. The girl downstairs had a broken leg and internal injuries, as was hospitalized for several weeks. Could you imagine today's time, what lawsuits that would have came out of this today? There's probably wasn't one lawsuit back there.
Yeah,
Not one. Not one. We did not stay there long at this address, but I got the impression that things were improving generally for my family, and that we would never go back to the places were occupied before. Orleans Avenue was the final move for both my mother and father, and also the place I would stay for the next half a century.
no. Orleans Avenue, yeah.
Woo! Woo! The house on Orleans was newly built home, probably a year old when my parents bought it. So no one lived in that house prior.
Now it's two family.
Yeah, but no one lived it. No one was,
No.
you were the first occupants of it.
Yeah.
It was a modest home compared to today's standards. Rectangular in shape, it was two-story family structure with a kitchen, dining room, and 2 bedrooms, and a small bath on each floor. We occupied the upper floor in the late summer of 1938. My parents had purchased the house on a modest down payment and a 20-year mortgage from Mr. Belden, a mortgage broker.
Yeah, I used to go to take the car to Belden and he sort of
Wow, that's amazing.
Mr. Belden, yeah.
Well, how you doing?
It was a good
Oh.
How was your movie?
second time I saw it, but it was an action and killing and fighting, and I loved it.
You loved it?
Down.
How are you feeling?
I twisted my leg. I hope my knee. I hope it's.
How'd that happen?
I turned and like my foot stayed still, and like twisted.
Well, it looks like you're walking pretty well.
I'm walking on my tap. I'm not walking good.
Well, I wish you the best. Go home and get some rest.
I will keep my foot up.
All right, good night.
Good night,
Take
Mike.
care, Harriet.
Bye bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Take care, drive safely.
Thank you.
There she is. She's
Okay. You know, that Mr. Belden, that family was in real estate for many years after that.
Oh, yeah.
I remember she Belden, they even had streets named
They
after
have a
him.
big lumber yard out their heights up over the hill.
Right,
That's where the international truck was across the street.
right. Minutes?